Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First item is the 2132 Global Avenue property update. Pleased to report I did receive the signed agreements of sale back from the seller. The plaintiff has already executed those. We have ordered the title insurance and have begun the conveyancing process. It will get back to me. I know that the seller would like it to hopefully close by the end of the month. I don't know whether that's going to be realistic or not, but we have ordered our title insurance and are moving forward with that. The 510 through 516 Bethel Avenue zoning map amendment request, we did receive a formal application to change the zoning for those particular properties. They have begun to go through the proper procedures that will eventually be listed for a hearing before the Board of Commissioners to determine whether or not the board wishes to change the zoning for those particular pieces of property. In addition, I prepared the public declaration letter for Upper Chichester County Police Department related to their drone requests. I have that here, and I've signed that. That should be part of their submission process. Other than that, most of the matters were somewhat routine in nature, although there was a lot of phone calls and a lot of questions and answers for the past month, but nothing that requires any action at this point.
Any questions?
Yeah, on the Bethel Avenue rezoning
Yes.
issues. What obstacles are they facing? I mean,
They have presented a case to the Board of Commissioners to have it changed from residential to the commercial.
Right.
So the question is, the Board of Commissioners would decide whether or not they feel it is appropriate and consistent with the comprehensive plan to have those actually commercial properties. As I understand it, based on the application that has been presented, that the applicant feels that those properties should be zoned commercial based on the comprehensive plan, not only for that area, but the areas extending along that property, and that it would be consistent with the surrounding properties. So that would be up to the board to determine whether or not they have met their burden and it is consistent.
Mike, if I had a question on one of the properties, would it be prudent to do it now, or should that be part of the hearing?
You can ask, I mean,
The only thing that struck my eye right away going through the application was that one property, it states that the use is a tradesman shop. However, at this point, there is no structure and there's just storage of vehicles, which is a violation. So could we get ourselves into a situation with creating a pre-existing non-conforming use of the property by switching it, or no?
probably not, but that would be something to ask the applicant about the current status of that property and what information they have to support the allegations that they made. That would be an appropriate question.
he covered what I was trying to get at.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I didn't know how to ask that.
Okay.
So when they come in for if they come in for the zoning change hearing, would they have to tell us what their intended use is, or it's whatever they can use?
You can certainly
C2?
ask them, but it would be the uses under the C2. That's what they're asking. I think that the people that are petitioning this have specific uses in mind.
Right.
So any questions we really have, we have to...
That would be to the applicant, that's right.
But if I need, like the area surrounding this, I need to look that up to see, because looking at the map again, you need to kind of find where... Okay. I'm just trying to find out where they're located, and then...
Market, 322.
Just below the red zone.
That's where I have to find out. I'll look into it. See who's one of it. All right.
If there's no other questions for our solicitor, we'll move on to our manager's report.
Good evening, everybody. The first item I have is that next week we will be holding, prior to the meeting, the Verizon franchise agreement hearing. So if you have any gripes or concerns with your Verizon Fire services, please feel free to come out and air them to get it on the record. I do not believe that they will have a representative here. However, those minutes will be forwarded along to them, as we have been in negotiations with them for the franchise agreement over the past 2 years. Board of Commissioners have before you tonight 4 potential designs for welcome signs. What we were trying to do is trying to get to an option where we incorporated some colors that mean something to the township. We actually don't have adopted colors or a flag or anything like that. So the options presented to you in front of you today represent colors that have to do with the Lenape Indians, the cherry tree orchards that once existed in the township, the ice cream soda, which was invented by a resident of Upper Chichester, as well as some elements from the seal of Chichester, England, which is the sister municipality in the UK that we were born out of. We need to get this information out. This is not a formal vote. Obviously, this is more of an informal. I'd like to get as much feedback tonight as possible. The only thing that I would mention about the signs is that it's been indicated to us by the township planner, which I agree, that the white sign will get very dirty and could also cause reflection glare issues. It was also brought to attention by Commissioner Neary as well. So, do you want to provide any feedback at this point?
Yeah, not a problem. What was that?
I think I sent an email, I sent it like the red one, so, red and white.
Is that the 2 different roofs or whatever it is?
Yeah, so they're the variations in the blue from those 2 different sources. One source from the seal, the charges.
I think red represents closely our school colors also.
So that red color, yeah, it's a very close to a maroon. The idea was to get close to a maroon and a cherry, like a dark cherry. The seal on that one is the color of it's a vanilla, and then the white widows. That's kind of from that Lenape seal that always had a white background. Then you also have the blue option down there as well, and the white option in the 2 dark blue.
So we've been saying Lenape, we're not. So like, not.
So if you can get me anything as soon as possible, because they really need to order the sign, so if we can land tomorrow, that'd be great. Keystone Collections Resolution, as you know, over the past year, we've been changing our accounting system, changing our accounting structure, changing our bank account structure to a much more secure structure. Currently, our deposits for EIT and LST go into what's known as our general fund account. That account is now locked down by the bank to only be able to basically be a sweep account. So we need to change the deposits into our deposit-only account, which does not allow withdrawals. So you'll have to be able to do that. We'll have a resolution, simple resolution stating changing of the bank account. As you remember, the board allocated a little over $16,000 of capital funds this year to support a Census 2020 committee to help improve the count throughout the township. We have kind of a plan forward for this committee, however, we do not have any members. So I do need members. I'd like anywhere from 3 to 5. I know Commissioner Neary has spoken and said that he would be interested in being on the committee. And I know, Michael, you had some conversations with some residents as well. So I need 3 to 5 people so I can get these trainings scheduled. Myself and Nicole are both active in the county and the state on this fair count stuff, so we would like to be at the forefront.
I had asked one individual, got no response back. I do have another individual that is interested. I think you better Mr. Brown.
Yep.
So if I don't hear back from anybody else, I have no problem with her.
It's not a huge commitment, so if there's anybody in the public that's interested, it's going to be 4 main events that we're going to hold throughout the year, and then probably 2 to 3 trainings where we work on an outreach plan. Employee service awards, annually we give out awards for years of service. We did a lot last year because a lot of people last year ended on either the 10, 20, 30, or 40 year. So we have a very light workload this year. I'll have them all out this weekend, and we will work on seeing if we can get them into this meeting or the next meeting for honoring our employees who served 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, and in some cases 45 years, almost 45 years. We have some items left from PennDOT, from the 322 plan that we need to resolve. Today, we received a sample agreement that we would need to enter into for a roll-up door. And so that's one part of that process that we need to undertake for them to look at expanding that one wall that Michael had been lobbying for. So it looks like the balls are in motion to make that happen. Michael's been key on getting that done. So we'll have that. We also, and I'll default to the solicitor and the engineer for some advice on this. They're asking us to give them street names. I guess my concern with that is my previous experience with naming streets typically comes at the, right around the time that we're going to accept dedication of the streets. We won't be accepting dedication of some of these streets for up to 10 years. So does, I guess I don't understand, like, I think we need to vet with them, is this just for them to put it on a plan, or should we be, is this something we want to do now, is it something we don't want to do now? You kind of get some more information there.
You and I had that discussion, quite frankly, I think that we want to plan as Township Road A, Township Road B, until such time as you're closer and you would be accepting the dedication. You won't accept the dedication until after the construction. I'll reach out and see if I can't get an answer from PennDOT. I owe George a letter with regard to your headboard.
There's really only one new road, right?
There's
Well, we want to change the name on Bethel, right, because we have a lot of Bethels, right? So the one Bethel, not the other 5. The one by CDL.
Right.
The other would be, which kind of, I guess it's now, right now it's like Garfield, but I guess it would be, Garfield's kind of going away. So, and then the other is.
Not one Garfield.
So essentially, once we take dedication, we can name it anything we want to, correct? So,
One road's going to be between 2 municipalities.
Yes, so,
You can't, well, you could, I mean, Parker could be one name, Parker could be another.
so the one Chichester done before? Is that the one you were Chichester Farrar?
Correct.
Yeah, so, I mean,
and we've roughly own 100 feet of that road, and Bethel's going to own 2 miles of that road. So I think we can throw things out there, but again, so I think we need to just determine, is this something we need to focus on now? And if we got these landed, great, throw them on the plan, but if not,
I think if it dies into another township, we might want to coordinate with them, but if it's fully within our township, I say we just wait and name it when the road dedication takes place.
All right.
Go ahead, you can say.
I can do all the ones you're naming that.
I do know it's covered.
Joe, we're all going to be long gone, trust me.
No, I mean really long.
When I say we move,
There are those that say you were a little gone already. You got that.
Mike's not too far.
I say we call it Erie Road then.
I have some items under other I'd like to address. One of them is we may have to look at an RFP for the tow contract. I have reached out to Charles O'Malley to provide me an update on what's going on with the inspections for that property. I will have information by you for the next meeting as determined to help you determine the path forward. There is a new report that's under Michael's section that is being provided to us by the housing inspector and the zoning inspector. It is a report of COs that have been issued conditional, so that you can see that on a monthly basis as to what's outstanding for updated inspections, as well as dated zoning violations. So you're going to be able to kind of see where we're at in that process with the zoning law and enforcement of that. We had a very productive meeting this past month with Mr. O'Malley and Mr. Crowley, myself, Commissioner Codioso, Michael Pierce, on the process going forward. We really want to hone that in, and I'm hoping to get some positive results from that. Under Commissioner Codioso's report, there's an item referencing the assessment. I attended a county presentation today on the assessment, so we've been getting a lot of concerns, calls about this document that came out that stated a value that basically said, hey, if you believe your property could sell for this amount, you're fine, but if not, maybe call this number and schedule. The conversation that they had, it was a televised meeting, so feel free to go back. Essentially stated to us that that number is theoretical at this point. So essentially the assessment number is not going to happen until July 1st. And what that assessment number is going to be made up of is any changes that they determine necessary between now and July 1st. When I tried to dig deeper into that question, because obviously they're telling people come in for the informal meetings as well, they indicated that not only those informal meetings, but other factors would affect that number, because in effect they do not believe that that number is a perfect number. So essentially, I've been trying to assist some people with, Commissioner Neary provided a little snapsheet that's very, very easy to follow on how to calculate what a millage would equate out to. However, really, we can't even get to that point at this, because there's really no idea of what that assessment number is going to be, of the total assessed value of the township district. After July, we will have a number, but that again is an imperfect number, because at that point, that's when the formal hearings will start. And typically the formal hearings are what the businesses go to, the larger commercial buildings. So that could greatly change the number that we're given on July 1st to what we end up with in November. So I guess what I'm trying to tell you is, what will happen is the board will adjust the millage according to what the assessment is to keep the taxes as level as possible as a whole. At this point right now, we don't know what that number is going to be. So once we get further information, we'll put information out on our website, Facebook, and talk about it at the meetings. However, I got the letter, everybody here got the letter. Yes, it, obviously raises red flags, what's going to happen, but unfortunately there's just no information at this point. And with that, that's all I have. Commissioner Whitaker did have to leave for a personal matter, so when it gets to her report, I'll just do a quick report.
Thank you. Any questions for our township manager?
Just one quick one, where we stand with the RFP for the learning, moving forward?
You will have that in April.
So other questions for our township manager? We'll move on to our vice chairman, Mr. Joe Basso.
Thank you. Highway and sanitation, we've been discussing the recycling issues, and the Highway and Sanitation Department put out a letter this week that mostly everybody should have got with their, when they picked up your recycling this week. They put a lot of time and work into that letter, and I think it woke a lot of us up. I mean, there's things on there I know I was doing wrong. Hopefully it'll educate everybody and help us do a little better job. But I want to thank them for the work, the effort, and all they did to put it together, and all the guys handing them out. Good job, fellas. Next, I have the sewer, water, and utilities. With all the stuff going on with the sewer authority, the Delcor Aqua stuff and all, was speaking with George and stuff, and some of the other commissioners. I think it might be time to do an audit down there, see where that place is at, see where we stand with it, just to get an idea of, how we're faring down there. And I'll probably ask the board next week and for a vote on that, I guess, right, George?
There's a specific study, I think, that we're going to request, so.
Yeah, I need to call PMA.
Okay.
I couldn't find it.
Basically gives you it gives a valuation of.
Right. See how we stand down there. And last, the Somerset Springbrook Development Update. What that is that development in Aston that's going up, big giant warehouse, trucking industry, whatever it's going to be. A lot of our residents are worried about traffic, water runoff, everything. And George attended a meeting. We were double booked that night. I did 322 and George did, I gave him the dirty work actually. George went, got a lot of information for us, and he gave a little report that, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but if anybody's has an interest in seeing what he found out, I'll talk to you or let you read it. That's all I have tonight.
Any questions for Commissioner Baca? If not, we'll jump back to our township manager to go over Commissioner Whitaker's report.
Good evening. Historical Society, we've not received a report yet. We will get that soon. Library report is on file. Recreation, Community Development, Heart and Soul Committee. The Heart and Soul Committee had their summit this past weekend. It was, for all intents and purposes, it's a huge success. Really excited to get all these people together to kind of get these values pared down and see what comes out of this as, you know, the values of the community. And I know Nicole's going to dive a little bit deeper into that next week. Grants, one of the items that we actually got notification today, so it's not on the report yet, is the technical assistance for the sanitation department has been approved. That's about $8,000 in consulting work from DEP for us to evaluate our routes. Start an evaluation of our routes to determine how efficient they are and if there's any ways they can become more efficient. So really cool thing to see. I'm really into like that family service. I'm really excited about this. Linwood Heights plan. Barb has been working really hard with the consultant and the township planner to kind of get that really to a point where it's going to be presentable to the board with some really strong action items that the board can take down there to really help out that community. So excited to see that. That should be coming forth in the next couple of months. And that's all I have. Thank you.
So any questions concerning Commissioner Reporter's report? If not, we'll move on to Commissioner Edwardowski.
Thank you. It's pretty quiet. Good news is we finally got the study from the state, from the DCED for the fire department. Everybody should have, I emailed a copy, but there's some hard copies up there if you need it. I would like to give the hard copy to the committee on the 26th of this month, that last Thursday of March, so they can start dissecting it also.